How are we doing? Welcome back to another episode of Steele Talkin Sports. I am your host, Jay Steele, and let's get talking. Bam! Welcome back, everybody. We are here for the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Thank you to everybody who watched last week's episode. Proud to say that is my best performing video so far. So thank you to everybody who watched. I really appreciate it. Let's keep this rolling and, keep the views rolling my way. I really have a lot of fun doing this. So this is just something that I like to do. I like talking sports, and the NFL playoff season is pretty fantastic to watch. So let's keep it cracking. Quick recap of last week was not the best. Had an overall 2-4 record on those games. In the Chargers and Texans game, I was on the Chargers -3. They got destroyed by the Texans 32-12. I was on the Ravens -9.5. They took care of the Steelers 28-14, although they could have won by a lot more. And then on Sunday, we had Buffalo -8.5. Broncos went up by 7 early on the first drive, and then Buffalo scored 31 straight points to end the game, 31-7. In the 4:00 game, I was on the Packers +4.5, and they decided not to show up until the second half and lost 22-12. In the nightcap on Sunday, man, what a fantastic game that was. Actually, the best game of the entire weekend last week. We were on Tampa Bay -3, and they shit the bed. Just crap running all down Baker Mayfield's leg. Could not figure out how to hand the ball off to his running back. And they lose to the Commanders 23-20 on a bank shot field goal by Zane Gonzalez to end the game. Crazy game. Was actually the best game of the weekend, though. That was fun to watch. And then on Monday night, the Rams showed out for the city of LA and beat the Vikings 27-9. However, that game was in Arizona due to the wildfires in California. So the Rams, played with the city on their back, and they got a W. We were on Minnesota -1 in that game. However, by game time, I had changed my mind, and I was on the Rams money line. So I did not do that on the episode. I did by the time we got to game time on Monday. So, that wraps up a 2-4 record for the weekend last week. So not the best look, but that's gambling, and that's the playoffs, honestly. The playoffs are very unpredictable. I didn't see the Texans winning the way that they did. I thought that Justin Herbert would play a lot better game. Also, I thought that Jim Harbaugh would coach a better game. Baltimore, that was, an easy win. They should have won by 28 or 30 points. Buffalo, easy win. I was sweating a little bit after the Broncos scored on the first drive of the game. But after that, I did not worry at all. Green Bay should have been able to cover the 4.5 or maybe 5.5 points by game time, but they just could not move the ball in the first half. So that one was pretty over pretty quickly. I kind of felt that was going to be a waste of a bet. Tampa was in the game the entire time. Nobody was, had a 2-score lead or anything like that. So I really thought Tampa was going to find a way to pull it out. And I even, I thought that Gonzalez might miss that kick, or that the Washington just wouldn't get down there to kick the field goal before regulation ended. And I thought that I felt confident with Tampa going into overtime that they would, Baker and Mike Evans would connect for a touchdown, and we'd cover the 3. But it is what it is. And then, like I said, the Minnesota Rams game, I had changed my mind by kickoff. I was on the Rams. I just felt like they were going to play with the city on their backs, no pun intended, but play with a fire in them, and they most certainly did. the Rams played an exceptional game from start to finish, and it was no question that their defense rattled Sam Darnold the entire game. So, like I said, I kind of flip flopped on that. That's my bad, but also I'm sure a lot of you, if you watched this episode, you probably changed your mind too once the game was moved to Arizona. So it is what it is, but we get back to another week of NFL football. So yeah, let's get it cracking. 1 second.
And here we go.
Thank you, Mr. Joker. All right, Saturday, January 18th, 4:30 p.m., we have the Houston Texans on the road in Kansas City to face the Chiefs. Kansas City is favored -8 points right now. It was 8.5 or maybe 9.5 earlier in the week, so it looks like that number's come down a little bit. Total is sitting at 41.5 points. Obviously, Chiefs 15-2 this season, 8-0 at home. Texans 10-7 total record with a 5-4 away record. Obviously, we know that the Chiefs have not covered a lot of spreads this season. They are one of the worst performing teams against the spread all year. I want to say 15-2. I think they're somewhere like 4-13 against the spread, maybe 5-12. Not very good. Give me 1 second. Yeah. Oh, record versus spread 7-9-1. I thought that was a little bit worse. But regardless, Chiefs come in with the 15th best offense. Houston 19th in scoring. Points allowed per game. Kansas City is 4th with only 19.2. Both teams are neck and neck in the turnover differential. Houston 7th in the league. Kansas City 10th. Houston 207 yards passing per game, 112 on the ground. On the other side, Kansas City 222 passing yards per game, 105 on the ground. As far as injuries go, Kansas City obviously should be fully rested. They've had 3 weeks off basically since week 16. When they clinched the number 1 seed, they didn't play any of their starters in week 18 against the Broncos when they got shut out. On the other side, Houston, Aziz Al-Shair limited in practice, Danico Autry limited, Nico Collins limited, Shaq Mason's limited, Joe Mixon limited in practice, and then Robert Woods did not practice due to a hip. I would imagine all those limited practice guys play. Robert Woods maybe would be concerning, but he's like the second or third receiver on that team. Maybe don't put too much stock into that. On the season, let's see. Stroud, Mahomes has thrown for 3,900 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. C.J. Stroud, 3,700 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 picks. Joe Mixon, 1,000 yards on the season, 11 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt leads the Chiefs with 728 yards and 7 touchdowns. But I do see Isaiah Pacheco probably getting the RB1 snaps in this game. So I would look at some Isaiah Pacheco props if you were into the prop market there. Nico Collins has had a couple of big games, and then obviously Travis Kelce, the leading wide receiver for the Chiefs. What are we doing in this game? This is tough because the Chiefs are one of the teams that I love to play as a favorite. But this is a big favorite. This is a really big favorite. And I don't know if the Chiefs are going to be that team in the playoffs this year where they're going to win by 2 scores. Now, on the other hand, I don't know how we can trust the Texans very much, because they're a back and forth team. I mean, the last time that they played the Chiefs, they did lose 27-19. That would cover this spread in this game. But the following game, they put up 2 points against Baltimore on Christmas Day and lost 31-2. That is, to me, that's a stain that you can't quite get rid of, and that kind of speaks to the way that they might play in this game when they face the Chiefs at 100% full go. I think this might be the game that the Chiefs actually score 30 points finally. They have not scored 30 points all season, but I think this might be the game where they put up some points and finally show the league who's boss. Man, this is a tough one because I love playing the Chiefs. I love betting with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. But the Texans can be sneaky. They can be. But I just don't think that we can trust them in this game. CJ Stroud has not looked like the way he did last year. I'm not very confident in what he's doing to get rid of the ball quickly enough. I think he's being sacked way too often. Let's see. Against the Chargers last week, he was sacked 3 times. He wasn't sacked in Week 18 against the Titans, but that makes sense. They're one of the worst teams in the league, and he only threw 6 passes. Against Baltimore, sacked 5 times. Against Kansas City, sacked 2 times. And then against Miami, in a game that they won, he was sacked 4 times. So, yeah, I don't have a lot of confidence in him. He played a lot better last season, and I just haven't seen it this year. Maybe it's due to Tank Dell being out and having to rely only on Nico Collins and like Dalton Schultz. Their third and fourth wide receivers in Robert Woods and Xavier Hutchinson. I just don't see them being able to keep up with Kansas City in this game. On the other side, if we look at Kansas City, we know what we've got. We've got Andy Reid. We have Patrick Mahomes. Patrick against the Steelers on Christmas Day threw for 320 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, no sacks, and a longest pass of 49 yards. That might have been his longest of the season. I like where the Chiefs are at coming into this game. They're playing at home. None of their starters played the last week of the season. They had a week off last week because of the number 1 seed. I think we hammer the Chiefs here. I know it's a big number, but this is when teams, put up or shut up in the playoffs, and I just don't know if the Texans are that team. So I'm going to back the team that I know that I'm confident can get the job done, and that is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. -8, -8.5, depending on your sports book. May even find a 7.5 out there. But I will be playing the Chiefs all the way up to like 9.5 or 10 points. 8 o'clock on Saturday night, we have the Washington Commanders on the road at the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions are laying 9.5 points right now. This opened at 5.5. So, wow, that is some heavy movement. 4 points in that direction. 55.5 is the total for this game. What do we know about these two teams? Neither team is going to punt the ball, and both teams are going to go for it on 4th down like their life depends on it. Washington played a great game last week, and they scraped out a win. They got lucky with the bank shot field goal. I don't know if that is going to be the case this week, but they do come in on a heater. Let's see. They've won. Hold on. Yeah. They have not lost a game since week 12 against Dallas in that crazy game that had like 4 scores in the last 4 minutes of the fourth quarter. So yeah, they come in on a 6-game winning streak, looking pretty hot. But the Lions have been the Lions. They're kind of the team of destiny right now, and this is where I think that shows its face. Is this is a team of destiny. Dan Campbell has had a week to prepare for the Washington Commanders. Also, had the number 1 seed, so they got to rest all their starters last week. I don't know if there's anybody coming back from injury because Detroit's had a ton of injuries on both sides of the ball all season long, but they have some potential to get some guys back on the lineup that could make a big impact in this game. Still, Aiden Hutchinson, defensive end, is looking like he will not be ready until they make the Super Bowl, if that's possible. I don't see anybody. Let's see. Offensive guard Kevin Zeitler has been ruled out against Commanders. Pat Connor, defensive end, is out. Ennis Rakestraw is listed as questionable. I don't know who that guy is. Carlton Davis not going to return on injured reserve, and Derek Barnes on injured reserve. So I'm sure those are no surprises to anyone if you follow the Lions. But in this game, like I said, I don't think I need to explain a lot, but I think the Lions are just gonna take care of this game, and Jaden Daniels is going to finally look like a rookie quarterback. I know he's been spectacular. He proved me wrong in last week's game. I did not expect him to play as well as he did. He was a man on a mission last week. Throwing the ball, running the ball at will. It was sickening to be on the other side of that bet last week. He was 24 for 35 throwing the ball, 268 yards, 7.7 average yards per completion, 2 touchdowns, only sacked 1 time. Rushing the ball, 13 carries for 36 yards. Man, it looked like he got a lot more yards than that. I can't believe that's only 36 yards. That's crazy. I swear he rushed for 60 plus. But either way, he looked fantastic. On the other side of the ball, Jared Goff has not done a lot wrong this year. 4,600 passing yards, 37 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. And if you take out the one game where he threw 5 picks, I mean, and they still won that game, but he would only have 7 interceptions. He'd probably be right there with Lamar and Josh Allen for MVP votes. But Jared Goff slings the ball. He's super accurate. The concepts on offense that they run are always beneficial to the offense and the quarterback. And if he's got 2 weeks off to prepare and, get locked in with his wide receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta. I just think those guys are really going to eat this weekend, and I think it's going to be a scoring fest for sure. But I think the Lions are going to be one of those teams where they score 6 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns, and that's it. They don't punt the ball. They don't kick any field goals. They're just going to be super efficient, clean football, and just dominate this game from start to finish. So yeah, I'm going to be on Detroit, laying another big number, 9.5 points. I don't really care. I just think this is a team of destiny, and until they prove me wrong, I'm going to back them through these playoffs. So that is what it is. We're going with the Detroit Lions. Now we move on to Sunday. And this is where things get interesting. We have the LA Rams on the road at the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia is laying 6.5 points here. Total is set at 43.5. After watching last week's game, I am less impressed by Philadelphia because they should have beaten the Packers by 25, 30 points. The Packers were a no-show in that game, and the Eagles should have played cleaner football. They punted the ball a number of times. They did not look as good on offense as a 12-point win looks on the scorecard. Jalen Hurts was only 13 of 21, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns. Saquon, 25 carries for 119. That's kind of misleading because he got like 25 yards on the last play of the game and then, took a knee. So really he was under 100 yards and under his total of like 103, 104 and a half. So I'm not that impressed. This should have been like 34-10. So a 22-10 win, I'm not that impressed with. I don't think the Eagles have the offense clicking in all cylinders. And on the other hand, the Rams are. The Rams are fantastic to watch. I just think Sean McVay is a better coach. Matthew Stafford is a better quarterback, and they have better weapons on the outside. The only thing I would worry about is the Rams' defense. They won their division, but they also allowed more points this season than they scored. Points for, 367. Points allowed, 386. On the other hand, the Eagles won the division 14-3, 463 points for, 303 points allowed. So they did have a big point differential over the rest of their competition this year. I just don't know if I see it happening in this game. If you do recall, a few weeks ago, Jalen Hurts did leave the game against the Commanders with a concussion. He sat out the following game. I'm not saying that I think he's susceptible, but I'm worried that maybe he's not playing at his tip-top shape after coming back from the concussion. So that is what I do worry about in that scenario. As far as the last 5 games these teams have played, dating back to 2017, the Philadelphia is 4-1 in those matchups. And let's see. Yeah, Philly would have covered the spread in all 4 of their wins. And then in the one loss in 2020, the Rams won 37-19. As far as this game, though, I just think there's a better coach and a better quarterback on the away team. And I'm going to be betting the Rams. Watching that game last week against the Vikings, I saw something in that team that looks special. And there's something about them that they can take it all the way to the Super Bowl and be competitive with whoever they play. So yeah, I'm going to be on the Rams plus the 6.5 this week. Also, I'm just a Dallas fan, so I can't really confidently bet Philadelphia. So it is what it is, but that's my take. I just think the Rams are a better team. I also think they're live dog in this game. They can win this game at a plus 225, whatever that was. Very good number. Yeah, plus 225 on the money line for the Rams. Very good number. I will be getting in on some of that action when it gets time on Sunday. And then, last but not least, the game of the year, potentially, the Baltimore Ravens on the road at the Buffalo Bills. Surprisingly, Baltimore is favored -1 right now. It's basic pick 'em either way. Buffalo did open at -1.5 favorites. They are now a +1 home dog. Very fascinating game. Over-under is set at 51.5 points. Obviously, we've got take your pick. Who do you want to be the MVP, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen? If you either way you vote, you're not making a bad decision. Both guys are well deserving. I would love to see like a co-MVP here because it's unfair that one guy has to lose this. Let's see. On the season for Lamar Jackson, 67% completion percentage, 4,100 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. He also has 139 carries, 915 yards, 4 touchdowns, and this is ridiculous. 47 first downs running the ball as your quarterback. That is pretty awesome. On the other hand, we have Mr. Josh Allen. His stats on the year are as follows. We have a 64% completion percentage, 3,700 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and then 102 carries for 531 yards, 12 rushing touchdowns, and 52 first downs. These guys are just a menace when it comes to playing the quarterback position, and they have redefined the way that quarterbacks play football in the NFL. Hands down, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are 2 in a million. We are living in a wonderful time when we get to see these two guys playing the quarterback position. This is going to be a fantastic football game. There might be only 20 points scored because the defenses are so good, and then there might be 100 points scored because the offenses are so good. I will not advise anyone to bet a over or under in this game. Please stay away from the over or under because the defenses are good, the offenses are good. I could see both results happening in this game. This could be excuse me. This could be a 13-10 slugfest, or it could be 53-50. Who freaking knows? Sorry, it is 10:30 at night, so don't judge me for drinking a brewski. I am recording this at nighttime. The last 5 matchups, obviously Baltimore won earlier this season. That was like week 3 or 4, 35-10. But over the last 5 matchups, Baltimore is 3-2. And that dates back to 2018. So really, if you just factor in the last 3 games, which would include Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, because I don't think they played in the 2019 matchup. Let me see. No, he did. Okay, so that was a Josh Allen game. What about 2018? 2018. Nope, that was a Nathan Peterman game, which makes sense why Baltimore won 47-3. But that was a Joe Flacco game as well, interestingly enough. But in this game, I have no idea what to do. I like Baltimore. They're really good. I like Buffalo. They're really good. The only thing that I can really give an advantage to one team when I look at right here is Buffalo is 8-0 at home this season, 9-0 if you include the playoff game last week against the Broncos. Baltimore is 6-3 on the road. So they have lost a couple of games on the road, and Buffalo is a pretty difficult place to play. I think that Buffalo has experienced some snow with the lake effect this week, so that could play a factor into this game. Game time weather looks like it's going to be 20 degrees outside, 6:30 p.m. under the lights. You can probably expect some snow to be falling. I don't know. This is a coin flip, honestly. Coin flip game. I'm going to take Buffalo +1 just because they're a home dog. +1 is really nothing in the NFL. This is basically just an even game across the board. But this game is really just comes down to gambling because these two teams are so evenly matched in every department. Both have a spectacular quarterback. Both have a spectacular running back this season with Derrick Henry and James Cook. Both have awesome receivers on the outside. Josh Allen has Khalil Shakir, Amari Cooper, even Keon Coleman, the rookie, Mac Hollins, the guy who doesn't wear shoes, and then two really electric tight ends in Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. On the other hand, let's see, Zay Flowers is listed as questionable for the Ravens, so that does give me a little pause for concern, but he also has Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar, Mark Andrews at tight end, and then they've got a pretty awesome RB2 in Justice Hill. And then you can't discount Lamar Jackson because he can essentially play every position on the field. This is a fantastic game, but I think I'm going to have to go with the Buffalo Bills, which will give us another AFC championship with Kansas City and Buffalo, which is going to be pretty freaking awesome. So yeah, that's the way I'm looking at it, folks. Quick recap: Kansas City -8.5, Detroit -9.5, 9.5, LA Rams plus the 6.5, and Buffalo +1. That wraps up the episode, folks. Obviously, getting down to the end of the NFL season, we don't have a lot of games left, so there is not a lot to talk about. I'm thinking about getting into the college basketball space once this gets over with, but I'm not going to mix and mingle right now. I've got too much on my plate to be recording that many episodes. So that wraps up our show. It's quick and simple, 30 minutes, so you won't have to listen to me for too long this week. I really appreciate everybody who listened to last week's episode. Thank you so much again. Like I said, that was my best performing episode so far. That gives me a lot of pride that what I'm doing here is maybe connecting with some people out there. I'm just an everyday guy. I work a regular job in a restaurant as a server and a bartender, and then I come home and I do this. I love watching sports. It's really all I ever talk about. I don't really want to talk politics or weather or any other BS that's going on, unless it's maybe comedy. I like comedy. But sports is what I got, so sports is what I like to talk about. And if you guys appreciate it, then I guess I'm connecting with some people out there, which makes me feel pretty good. So thanks for listening to this week's episode. Catch me out on YouTube at Steele Talkin Sports, and then on Twitter at Steele_Talkin. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it. Hope you like these bets and hope we win some money this week. Yeah. And we will be back for next week to talk the AFC and NFC championship games and then get a Super Bowl preview. So thanks, everybody, to listening, and hope you have a great week. I'm out.